You may be questioning why I am dressed in all black. Is this a eulogy, perhaps? No, not exactly. But also, I have some things I need to get rid of. Apparently, I have too much new Christmas clothing, so I'm trying to put out what I don't need anymore and putting these away forever. Welcome back to another episode of Y.E.S, everyone. We have finally reached the end of 2019. Funny enough, I actually think this year passed by super quick, but when I think of the collection of all the albums I've listened together, it kind of adds up when you think about it from a certain point of view. And today we get to talk about the bad ones. Oh boy. So let me explain exactly how this ranking is going to work. This is a top 10 worst albums of the year. This is, in fact, a combination of my ratings with my preference at the same time. Not all the percentages or the recommendations align exactly, but I did consider them. These are just the ones I think I personally feel start from least worst to mega bad. Also, I can only include albums in this list that I actually reviewed. I can't go by everyone else's opinions that might create a consensus about what might be low quality. I just can't do that. I can't piggyback off of other people's opinions. I can only include what I reviewed on this channel. I just think that's fair. Now, one small thing I want to do before I get into these albums, there were 2 reviews I did that a lot of people thought I was giving negative reviews for. It wasn't like gloriously positive, but they weren't really negative, so I'd just like to address those real quick. Dermot Kennedy was the very first music project I reviewed this year. It has a lot of views. It also has a lot of negative-oriented comments for some reason. I don't know. I guess I didn't like the album enough for people. I like this album. I just don't love it, okay? Just putting it out there. And secondly, Billie Eilish's album, I also had issues with this album, but I don't feel like I gave it a negative grade. I just kind of emphasized the things that I wasn't totally fond of. Having said that, this is my runner-up of the 8 albums selected for Album of the Year. This is what I would consider my number 2. If it wins, I'm happy. I'd rather my number 1 pick get. We'll talk about that later. Okay, now that I've gotten these 2 out of the way, I'm going to mention a few dishonorable mentions. The only reason I feel like I really want to do this is because this year I actually was able to listen to so many albums, which means I had more opportunities to find some letdowns, some oopsies, some albums that just did not do what they thought they were going to do. Mark Ronson's Late Night Feelings. Yeah, I was shocked how much I wasn't really a fan of this album. Next is number 6 Collaborations Project by Ed Sheeran. Probably a lot of you thought this might be higher. I don't like the album, but I'm slightly more forgiving in this sense. I think there are albums that are worse than this one. This one probably is going to be controversial, but Thank You Next by Ariana Grande. I don't get this album. I just don't. Beauty Marks by Sierra. I thought this would be in my top 10 for a long time. And 3 by Banks. I don't actually want to talk about this one anymore. Okay. Now, let's move on to the 10. Let's start. Oh, the uproar from everyone else. Yes, Lover by Taylor Swift. Now, the reason this is in my top 10 and is only in the 10th spot is because of the percentages that I give albums in, the way that I just kind of do things, this is the lowest rated okay album I have. There are a few elements in here that I do think, oh, that is all right. I wish I got more of that from Taylor. But everything else was either bad or a mess or just kind of twisted. I feel like I'm seeing these things from a different lens than everybody else. I can't get behind it. I'm sorry. No, actually I'm not. I can't get behind it. At number 9, we have Chicks Tape 5 by Tory Lanez. This was a project I was excited about. Did you look at all of the featured artists that were in this album? This should have been amazing. At least from a nostalgic point of view kind of way. It was bad. So bad. So bad. Like, there's some groove to it. Like, I can kind of like the ideas, but ideas only go so far. You have to bring it. You have to produce. You have to execute. I said in my review, the artists that were featured in this, I felt really let down because it made everyone else seem like they were being pulled down to a different lower level of their fame. And that made me feel real sad inside. But it's only number 9. Let's keep going. At number 8, we have 7. By Lil Nas X. Okay, so this is technically an EP, but it had enough songs in here where I just didn't really care. And I feel like I have a disdain for some of this creativity that this artist is trying to put out. He has potential. I've seen it. I have heard it. But that little potential cannot save the entire project. It's projects like these that make me very concerned about how things get popular in the mainstream world of music. I am concerned. I really am. We have DJ Khaled, Father of Assad. This was basically DJ Khaled trying to kind of rehash Major Key. This felt like he was trying to go big, but not putting any effort. It's like he said, I have some big enough names already. I think people will just go along with it. We didn't. I know a lot of people who did not go along with this album, and thankfully I don't think I'm in the minority with this one. Khaled, dude, you can do so much better, and I know you can. I know some people just won't care about your music in general. I think some people just don't like your style. I do. I like a lot of what you make, man. I think that you can do much better than this. Please, bring your A game. Come on. If you claim that we the best, bring your best. Bring yes. Bring yes to your game, okay? This. No. And now we have Next to the Sun by Kaina. I doubt many of you listen to this album. Why would I even try to, maybe in some people's point of view, bring it down even more? Well, here's the thing. I try to not just listen to mainstream. I try to actually explore and find new music. I really enjoy that. I find some amazing music by giving other music a chance. And sometimes I find a stinker. This is one of those times. I questioned why I even want to explore music that I had never heard of because of listening to this album. I'm not going to abandon that, but it made me question it. This is kind of a small debut for an idea that I see some artists trying to hash out by thinking that they're kind of clever, maybe somewhat being self-righteous. There's just so much in here that I feel like she's trying to overstep what she hasn't even been able to overcome yet. The basic idea is this. If it is not good and it is worse than other things you think you have heard in the year, it deserves to be in a spot in this list. I have to put it here. Just Just saying. That's how it works. Okay? Next, please. 'Cause I Love You by Lizzo. And here comes the internet trolls. I don't like this album. I don't. I feel like a lot of people are blinded by this album. I think Lizzo, the artist, the woman, I think she is a nice person. I watched a little bit more about where she came from, what it took for her to get to where she's at, and I can respect her for that. I like her story, but the actual album, I just don't, okay? I don't like the album. The only reason it is here and not even lower is because she somehow brought most of the production to be pretty good. Not all of it, but most of it. I will defend my position for this album. But we're still not at the bottom yet. Floor Seats by A$AP Ferg. Okay, so I didn't review this album immediately when it came out. I waited a few weeks and I thought to myself, I know who A$AP Ferg is. I know a little bit of his background and I don't honestly listen to his music, but maybe this is a chance that I get to hear what his sound is kind of like. I don't know if this is the typical sound, but it's terrible. It is so bad. Good heavens. This is like, I'm like a little embarrassed to say that I listened to this album, because if someone else that was close to me listened to it because I listened to it, and then they said, "Why did you listen to that album?" And I would be like, "I didn't recommend it. I made a review about it, but I didn't recommend it, okay? Why did you listen to that? I told you not to." Oh, gosh. Number 3 is Libertad 548 by Pitbull. Now, here's a little thing I thought about before creating this video. I thought at some point this and A$AP Ferg's album, they could have been 4th or 3rd spots interchangeable. The reason I decided that Pitbull would get the 3rd spot instead of the 4th is because the premise and idea, potentially inspiration for this album, seemed to have more of a tug, more potential gravity, more meaning to it. And it didn't work. And I don't feel like the album has anything to do with the inspiration that Pitbull claims this album was supposed to have. I don't see the connection to the idea of it. And honestly, am I the only person that listened to this? I feel like no one talked about this album. But because it was Pitbull, and I don't claim he's amazing, but he's infectious, okay? It's fun to listen to some of his music. So I thought, maybe there's something in here that I will be able to enjoy. Get a little Latino vibe in there. I don't know. My number 2 is A Real Good Kid by Mike Posner. Now, this didn't get worse percentages than Taylor Swift's album, and it's lower than a bunch of my no-rated albums for basically this reason. This is the only album that infuriated me. This album has some elements that are fine. I actually like the song Stuck in the Middle. Now let's edge that to the side for a moment. This is one of those albums where, although it comes from a sad and wherever you might stand, sympathetic or empathetic, or just you feel just plain sad for the guy. And I do. But the tone of this album is like he's demanding that we understand his perspective and that he will permit himself to just talk in any way that he deems fit to get his point across. And I do not endorse that idea. He is yelling and trying to make it sound like he is hurting inside. And I believe he is. But it does not make the music better. It makes it sound like he's a whiner. It makes it seem like he is trying to drag us down to his pain. He makes it seem like it's excusable to make profanity and so many more moral-less characteristics that humans potentially can have to be permissible. I don't agree with that. I just don't. Okay? Okay. That's number 2. And now, for my number 1 worst album of 2019 is Harvard Dropout by Lil Pump. I have actually seen a lot of lists that do have this album in their top 10, top however many albums they dislike from this year. I have this album at number 1 because there is practically no musical quality whatsoever with this album. It is so below average. It is so below any remote expectations. This is an embarrassment to hip-hop music. Yeah, music period, but definitely to hip-hop music, man. I cannot believe that people pay money to buy this content or to purchase tickets to see him perform. This is atrociously and in a weird kind of way hilariously mind-boggling that this even exists. This is bombastically low quality. It is just outright unbelievable how bad you can make music and convince people to think that you're making a good product. This is in the lowest pits of the grossest sewers of music possible. Bad. I made it through. I don't ever have to talk about those albums again. Yay! Yes! Once again, guys, this is technically my opinion. I hold firmly to my opinions. I'm open to discuss and conversate with others about why they like albums or why they don't. I strongly believe in these opinions, but don't think that we can't talk about it. Let me know why you agree or disagree, if you would put things higher over the other, or if you would think that others deserve to be even lower. So yeah, if you want to talk to me about it, just let me know. Comment below. And please wait around for the best of the year. It's coming very soon, and I hope you like that video as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, remember to subscribe and follow all the social media for this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time. Seriously, what do you think you're graduating from? Like, what is this? What is this? I'm graduating 2019 here, baby. I am out and never coming back to this. Never. Nope. It ain't happening.